Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what may be one of the final lockdown editions of Perth Premier Podcast.
Ooh.
Hopefully in the next few weeks we'll be getting back to podding in person, getting everything back up on Podbean, but once again here we are. I'm your host Jordan Patrick, the thickest of kings, and over there is my co-host, Big Brown. No, that's my nickname. You are Words with Dots, El Mike, El Nipperino, Nippity Doodah, Cons Man, the M-A-T-E-N man.
I am also the man without Words with Dots because it was on Instagram and it disappeared.
Like the epitome of you had one job. Like
Yeah.
every week Mike has one job.
This is me just slowly phasing it out. So
No, you can't. The people won't have it, Mike.
It's an institution.
It is, man.
I'll tell you what I was gonna do because Stevie Mac had a good one that he put on Instagram.
Ooh.
And I was going to steal it, but it was on his story, so it disappeared. So I was thinking all week that I was going to go back to that, and now it's gone. So blame Stevie Mac. It's his fault.
No.
So Word with Dots today is blame Stevie Mac.
Yes.
Charming.
Blame Stevie Mac.
Also got your old dad chilling back there. Andy Mac, the Pershar Pirlo, on a beach somewhere in the Costa del Bridge of Ern. And finally, after, we've been doing this for 3 years, long-term listener, Mr. Informative, the man who is for the first time going to be able to correct me and Mike's bullshit straight away. Comment section. We've got Mr. Ali Cook. Welcome here, sir.
Kind of you to ask me. Good to be here.
I will say, first of all, I'm absolutely loving the shirt. That is fantastic.
Yeah, well, there's that thing from The Simpsons, I think it is. There's only two kinds of people who wear a shirt like that. Is it homosexuals and big fat party animals? And I refuse to tell you whether it's either or both. So I'll leave that to the judgment of my peers.
Hey man, we're not here to judge. We're just here for a good time. Like I say, we've been trying to get Ali on, and it's actually because of the lockdown and us going on to Skype that we finally managed to find an arrangement to do it. Because I remember once you telling me that for you to come up here, it'd be something like 4 trains and an hour's drive.
Oh, something stupid, yeah. Or we were still actually thinking of doing it because for people that don't know, which I assume is going to be most people, I lived in Aberdeen for like 5 years when I met my wife. So we do have reason to go to Scotland, but we were going to do it this year, but this thing happened, which you may be aware of. So
I think Nikki's going to be putting some armed security at the border to keep you guys from coming up pretty soon too.
I've got an Irish passport, so whatever.
All right.
Skirt around it.
So we'll just jump in. So first of all, I just wanted to say we had some very, very kind words last week, especially about Mr. Dots' well-informed discussion point. I think it was very apt that me and Andy took a big old back seat on that one. But just thank you to everyone who got in touch just to reach out, and obviously the other feedback about the usual shite we talk about has also been well received. However, it was nice to get some people commenting on how well thought out and informed we seemed. So that was brought.
Speaking of feedback, now that Ali's on the show, does this mean that our Facebook post will get no engagement this week? Because
I'm just going to slag off myself in real time on the comment section.
See, a lot of people who have been listeners as well, then they feel a bit lost the week after because they don't want to listen back to themselves. So they then just skip that week entirely.
Mm-hmm.
I did wonder about that. It would be a bit strange.
I don't know. I've started watching most of the YouTube videos, but then I just get a bit annoyed about whatever I'm doing with my head. I'm like, just fucking sit still.
Stevie Wonder over there.
We'll jump straight into it. First of all, Ali, so thanks again, man, for coming on. Like, there's no real topic or part of discussion this week. We just wanted an extra person to come on and chat shit with us. We just thought we'd get the smartest person who listens to the show to come on and talk to us. So first of all, how have you been doing with lockdown? How has it affected your day to day?
It's fine. I've got no dramatic stories whatsoever. Complete letdown on that your line of question. I mean, because I predominantly work either offshore or away. When I'm at home, I'm not working. I was still having to do some work from home in May, and then my client let us go. It's not a big deal. I don't need a sob story or anything, but since then, and then my son's gone back to nursery now, so it's like, it's cool, I do what I want. So the only thing that's really severely affected me is the massive queues at the supermarket. So
I was going to say, because we've talked about this previously, specifically Jordan and I, like where it's kind of worked out kind of better for us in certain ways with everything happening with COVID. Like I'm able to actually see my daughters a lot more. I assume that's been the same way for you when you're working from home. You're able to see. Now he's back at nursery, so it may not be that much now. But is it better? It was certainly would have been better for you seeing him.
Again, not really. It's because I mean, when I worked offshore, because I work in Norway, who are a very wealthy country, so they're quite inherently as lazy as you would be if you were as rich as them. So where if you're working offshore in, say, the UK, you'd probably do even time, say 2 weeks away, 2 weeks at home, or 3 weeks away, 3 weeks at home, or something like that. If you're working Africa, it might be 4 on, 4 off or something. And if you're some mad guy from the Philippines, in all likelihood, you're going to work for 2 years before you go home again. Like this. Whereas in Norway, it's 2 weeks on, 3 weeks off. So,
all right. Yeah. So all right. So you were good.
I really can never complain about not being able to see my kid. It's and then there are times when you still got, they just tell you don't actually need to come to work. There's no operational requirement this week, so stay home. Then you get a 4th week. So yeah, it's I can't complain.
It's not bad. You talked a lot as well. Me and you have been, because we're now cyclists. Myself, I mean, like I've cycled over 4 times in the last 14 weeks, so it's getting pretty serious.
4 times?
I know Ali's been getting out a lot on his bike as well. So have you found yourself having to? Because I must imagine, is it kind of like if you're doing that? I always find this weird when you find people that do like the 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Do you find yourself struggling to keep routine because you're so constantly changing between the two?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's a total nightmare. That's the trade-off. You know, there's things about it which are very advantageous, and there are things about it which are very inconvenient. I mean, I worked it out once. I do round about the same hours as the average person over a year, but it's where that time is distributed, which is different. But I mean, you know, there are times you're going to miss birthdays, you're going to miss Christmas, that kind of thing. But again, you're used to it. People's expectations, what you can do is different. But what it does allow you to do is if you want to really get into something, you know, when you're at home, you've got 2 or 3 weeks and you go, I can put aside 5 days and just smash that out, whether it's DIY or you think I'm going to get a full week down the gym this week and sort of plan ahead a bit. And it depends what you do when you're in an offshore job as well, because annoyingly, I'm in one which is quite itinerant. So I might go to 3 rigs in 2 weeks sometimes. Whereas most people would be like going to the same place every single time. So they'll have their own little community out there, and they might have a spotting partner who's on the same week as them in the rotation on the rig. So they'll work out together and stuff like that. So it's horses for courses, really.
So did we actually explain what you do for a living for anyone who's watching?
Probably not.
Okay. What is it that you do for a living?
I hope you were going to tell me.
If I knew, I would.
More than punches you always got. You always remind me, like whenever in Friends, people asked Chandler what his job was, and there's no one for over 10 years. You just knew that was his job, but you had no idea what it actually was. Tell
us about your weenus, Ali. What is it that you do for a living? That's the title of the episode, by the way.
The weenus and how long it. Yeah. Basically, how do I say this accurately and not boringly? I'm currently an operations geologist. I've been doing that for a fairly short period of time. So I'll talk about what I've done for most of the time. But like when I played for Hurricanes, I was what's called a well site geologist. So I'm the representative on the rig site, whether that's on land or on sea or whatever, for the oil company. I don't usually work for them. For most of that time, I was freelance, and they basically put me out there to make sure everything's done correctly to their plans. The way to sum it up in the most familiar way, I think, would be to say it's like being a navigator. If you're going to drive from Perth to Applecross, you might have a map. Someone else has made you the map, and you know Applecross is that away, and it'll take you about 4 hours, I don't know, to get there or something. And you know you've got to hit. That if you head in this direction, you should get there. Well, I'm the guy in the car that's actually reading the map and looking out to say, right, well, you're actually, this is going to take you longer, and this bit's always a nightmare. So the sat nav says do this, you should do that. and that kind of thing. So I'm actually navigating based on what you see when you're in that place, rather than just going, well, it's 2,000 meters that way. Let's just go until we hit it, as the film Armageddon would have you believe.
Good film. Good film, that, by the way.
It's an excellent comedy. I could tell hours.
I've ever seen there's a thing on YouTube, and it's Ben Affleck doing the DVD commentary, but he's fucking steaming, and he's in the film to death, and it's absolutely brilliant.
Well, I won't go into too much of a rant, but I mean, there are some brilliant things about that, just as a general problematic film, which makes it fun to watch. Like, you know, they take two geologists to an asteroid for starters. I don't know why, because they already know it's an asteroid. There's nothing much else they can do to help. Secondly, but my favourite part is they're drilling and the drill bit breaks, and they're like, oh shit, they get another one, and that bit breaks, and they get another one, and that bit breaks. Then Bruce Willis does that thing where he looks over his shoulder like he does most movies, unpack the judge, and they get the biggest goddamn drill you've ever seen in your life. And my first thought when I watched it, was like 17 or something, was like, mate, what are you saving this for?
I know, right?
You trying to save a bit of cash or time? We're on the clock here.
Were you going to take that back to Earth with you?
Turns out we didn't have to use the excellent drill that we have.
Plus, you drilled a small hole, and now you've got a big bit. You're going to have to drill it again. Useless. Well, it's a wonder we're all alive.
I'm going to have to watch that film again soon, actually. Through completely different eyes this time. Like,
it's almost like it wasn't well thought out sometimes.
Because was it not that? Was that one, and there was another one that was released?
Deep Impact.
That's it, Deep Impact.
Yeah, with the one with Frodo in it.
Hollywood has this weird habit of like chucking out two really similar films.
Yeah.
That's where you get a script will be written and it never really goes anywhere. It bounces around, and you end up with 2 or 3 studios. Might end up with the rights to it, or someone just rips it off, knowing damn well that no one's ever going to be able to prove it. And if you get yours out first, anyway, it's gravy.
Yeah, because there was the one with the
volcanoes.
Volcano and Dante's Peak. There was Speed and Blown Away, come out in '94.
There was White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen. Like literally 2 exact same films.
Well, you wonder if they coordinate after a while when they realise they think that's free publicity.
Exactly, yeah. You go first. No, I'll go first.
Which one's a good one? Saying that I did watch Dante's Peak the other day.
Good movie.
Fucking great, man. Just like...
Is that the one with Pierce Brosnan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Love Pierce Brosnan.
Accurate.
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel I watch, and they recently went through all the Pierce Brosnan Bond films, and I forgot how much I loved him, especially...
it's great.
GoldenEye is one of my all-time favourite Bond. I think that's fantastic.
That and the fucking... Everyone will remember the N64 first like multiplayer playing GoldenEye with your pals on a screen about that big. That was... started, man. That's like OG of multiplayer games.
What's the Bond where...
I bought that in cash, like the whole system in MVC. I remember walking in, 17 years old, ago. I felt like Wayne's World when he buys the guitar. It's like, do you take cash, my man?
What's the Bond? Is the Pierce Brosnan Bond where he's in the tank? He's in the suit. He ends up in the tank. And that's GoldenEye. Okay, yeah, I like that one.
Oh man, it's just one of the best games. I think it's probably still one of my all-time favorite games. And like, I remember even trying to they redid it for the Xbox a few years ago, and it just was missing something that the original didn't have.
And that made me angry when I played it. I think I did like 2 hours, and then I was like, I'm never touching this again. This game, it really upset me somehow. I don't know why.
I always thought that GoldenEye, along with Grand Theft Auto 3, are the 2 most important video games in the modern era of video games. 3D-wise, sort of N64, PlayStation onwards. Without a doubt, GoldenEye was a huge part of my childhood, like my teen years growing up, playing that with my mates. That's nostalgia ain't what it used to be, though, as you say. When they remade it, it was never the same. You're never ever going to capture that essence of what you had when you played it the first time around going back. You never ever do.
They were both so ahead of their time as well. I remember when someone described Grand Theft Auto 3 to me, and I was like, this is a game, right? You're talking like a movie or a book or something. You can't do all of these things.
I used to play the first 2 versions when it was top down on PC, because I think I would have been about 14 at the time, and my mate Stush, his dad had it on his PC. And he's like, oh, check this game that like my dad's been playing. And we started playing it, got a copy of it, and it went from there. But I wonder what it'd be like going back and playing that now. Jeez.
That was like weird shareware days when you got your computer and you got I had Doom. I had this weird game called Murder, Death, Kill, where it's like this guy in a weird alien suit that used to go around and kill all these bad guys. It was really Murder, Death, Kill. Yeah, it was a really, really awesome time for stolen software.
Was that like when you used to get your PlayStation chipped? I don't know if it was the same thing in America, Mike. It was like back when people started getting PlayStations and PlayStation 2s, the big thing was getting your PlayStation chipped, and it basically meant you could play counterfeit games on your PlayStation. Like you always your dad or your uncle knew a guy who would chip your PlayStation for 20 quid and then get every game you wanted for a tenner.
It used to go on up until the Xbox 360 because there's people that I worked with at the place that shall not be named that had chipped an Xbox 360 for me and used to just burn me discs on a CDR or a DVD-R, sorry.
Oh,
and,
man.
Yes.
Is that the same guy that used to get you all
the... When I was a kid, so I'm a little bit older than you guys, the way you copied games was with a tape player which had 2 tapes. When you used to go out with some games.
On the Amstrad.
ZX Spectrum for me, but pretty much that or the Commodore 64.
That was the first thing I remember was my nan had an Amstrad and the games were cassettes that you put in, and it was like that old dark green screen with green writing across it. That was my first experience with games, and you had to rewind them if you wanted to play them from the start and shit. Oh.
Is the same guy that chipped your PlayStation? Is it the same dude that got you all the nudie channels on Sky? If you wanted to do that, is it the same dude?
What do you mean? Is it? You know.
No, it's not. But I didn't.
He's actually downstairs looking at my Skybox right now. So,
I didn't know there was somebody in the place that shall not be named that was doing that. Right?
It was me.
It was Mike.
You see, you used to be able to get Sky in 2 different rooms, but you could only watch what the other person was watching.
I saw a bit on this. Who's the comedian did a bit on that?
Yeah, there was a guy. He did a bit where he's it was Kevin Bridges.
Yeah.
You knew his dad would always switch it to the 12 o'clock preview on Babe Station for him.
5 minutes, enough time.
Digital TV when I was at university.
More than enough time.
Job at ITV Digital, which was a complete farce, that place. And I remember we had these pest callers, and we were all warned about them. People would just habitually call up a call centre because apparently they had nothing better to do with their lives. Terribly tragic, really. But we had this one guy whose name I can't remember, but should probably not say over the internet, who would ring up. We were just told as soon as he rang up, "Is your carer there, sir? Just put your carer on the phone." He was old. And one of the girls on my team took this call from him once. He goes, "Oh, it's so and so." I'm like, "Yeah, what's he want?" He wanted to know how much it was for the adult channel, the Television X. So she said, well, they're the same price. And he said, well, which one's better? And he said, well, there's a 10-minute preview at midnight every night. He goes, well, if there's a free 10-minute preview, I won't need the channel. Thank you.
Smart man.
Yeah. That's just working. That's efficiency.
Working the system. There you go.
Oh, man.
Anything else is just greed. You need anything more than that, it's greed.
So 10 whole minutes.
7 minutes to spare.
Oh, Michael.
I know. We got to get filthy again. We haven't got filthy in a while. Come on.
That's because we're not. This is what happens when all of us start having a drink. I was actually thinking it was Mike. Actually, we were just what we were just discussing there. 10-minute previews are raw.
Oh, they are raw.
Seamless.
Much like our very own feature.
Bro, no. Hey. First time doing this in a while. This is crazy.
I've missed Bro, no, yeah, I've missed it. We've all become absolutely terrible at being me and Mike are meant to run the socials, and we're both just utterly garbage at it in the last few.
Don't even take any of the shame for that. That should be me, and I've been terrible because I've been focused on trying to do my job properly. What's that?
We're trying to do the job that you're actually paid for.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm slacking there too. But we got a couple of good ones today, actually.
Do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll read them. The Tayport Breakers Baseball Club.
Yeah.
They said shortened. Jay says shortened sports seasons versus full cancellation. Brawl for me, although I can understand the viewpoint that anything won in that season will always have an asterisk by it in the minds of some. That's a good point. Brawl or nah?
Jay saying he's in favour of a shortened season.
He says, he's saying that they will have it. He doesn't really say, he says brawl for him. Yeah, he does say brawl. But he understands that it's not going to be, in some people's eyes, it's not going to be the real deal, which I agree with.
I don't think you'll find any football fan in any nation who wanted any of the leagues to be cancelled prior to their completion. I know for a fact that I would have much preferred to wait a little bit longer for the Celtic games to come back, and I'd imagine Andy would be the exact same for the Dundee United one. But at the end of the day, I think it all comes down to money. Like, the reason the Premiership has come back together is because if they hadn't completed their seasons, they would have had to pay millions and millions and millions back to Sky. So they had to come up with a way to finish that season. The SPL doesn't have the money to facilitate all the tests to make sure that they didn't have the same financial impetus for it to finish. I think that's my very basic understanding. But
don't they have a deal with Sky as well, though? Wouldn't they had to pay money back? It may not have been as much, though.
Not to the extent. The English league, the Premiership, is fully the majority of their funding comes from the TV money. So like the money that they would have had to pay back would have fucked up all of the clubs over there. Whereas the SPL's TV deal is a drop in the ocean compared to the Premiership. So I think I'd much prefer all the leagues to have been finished. So I'm going to say no for season cancellations because it's pish. It's not what anyone wants to see. No one wants to see their team be handed a trophy or a promotion without completing all their fixtures. Do you know what I mean?
You weren't saying that a couple of weeks ago when Celtic got.
I'm quite happily going to take it, and I think that us, like Dundee United, were deservedly given the plaudits. However, no one wanted that to be the outcome.
Yeah, fair enough. I got you.
I genuinely do not see anyone who has done as well as the teams who were handed the leagues to then be like, oh, I'm not taking that. Do you know what I mean? If you put anyone in that position, they were going to claim that title. But I think everyone with a reasonable head on their shoulders would have wanted the league to be finished, whatever that looked like. But that's just me. What does everyone else think?
I'll chime in next. So I agree with you. Everyone wants the full season. You would like that. If you can't get that, you have to give it to whoever's leaders at that point. I just think that's really interesting, especially what's happening in the NBA now, where everyone's kind of all been shipped off to Florida, to Orlando to play. And there's a lot of players who were like, I don't know if I want to play basketball right now. And not even just because of the COVID stuff, but just because of all the things that are going on there with the protests. They feel that's going to take away from that. And it's there's a debate that's going on right now. I think they're going to end up playing anyway. I think the schedule is already rolled out, which is good. I think that's good, especially for America to have something else to focus on, as long as they're still focusing on what needs to be done. But I'm going to say short seasons are bra, definitely bra. Let's play. Let's get sports. Let's get everyone's mind on something else for a little while and play ball.
Well, if the answer to the question is, would you prefer the seasons to be finished the way they are or not? Then I'll say bra. My no was for a season being cancelled. So. Oh,
okay, you're right. That's the question. It's full cancellation versus shortened season. So I'll say shortened season. So bra.
Okay. Ali, what about yourself, mate?
Not really a big watcher of sports on TV, but in terms of the money thing you brought up, that was interesting. But I would have thought that they would invoke the legal protection force majeure, where basically there's a shit that's happened outside of our control. It's not really legitimately our fault. We can't meet these contract conditions. But then again, Sky is owned by Rupert Murdoch, who is, if there's a devil, it's probably him. So I'm sure he's got some very interesting lawyers working for him. But yeah, I'm fine with the shortened season. It is what it is. It's a bloody pandemic. You can't complain about it. And if someone ever says to you, oh, well, you guys, you didn't really win. You still won the games you won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are you going to do? Say, oh, all the bloody dead people ruined this season for me. Arse.
Inconsiderate bastards. What about you, Andy?
I don't really care. At the end of the day, you're talking about United and talking about Celtic, bottom line is these are the amount of games that could have been played, and these are the amount of games that we could only play. Who's top? Who's bottom? Champions, relegated. End of discussion. Move on.
Especially, I will say, this is going to upset one of our listeners, Sean Bartlett. Hearts' situation is one that I can appreciate, but at the same time, I feel like with the performance, I'm really singling them out, with their performance over the season, like Andy says, they didn't do enough with the games that they had. Do you know what I mean? They were bottom of the league in January for a reason. You know,
yeah. If Queen of the South were top of the championship, or Dundee had been top of the championship and it went up, I'd have said, well, tough titties. The season's been cancelled. Get on with it. We've got to build for next season.
It's a lot of sport as well. It's random happenstance. I mean, whether it takes place through unusual freak weather conditions, raining off games, injuries. You know, you're going to say you'll love this one, Jordan. You're going to say to the Patriots, you shouldn't have won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady because you said your quarterback was Drew. What's his name? His name escapes me now. But he got his internal organs ruptured by a linebacker from the New York Jets. That's not a proper excuse. We need to replay the whole thing with your proper quarterback. At which point does random happenstance interfering become something that doesn't count? You know? It's part
and of it's not like Celtic said, you know what, let's get this flu going here, and we're already at the top of the league. So
you don't know that.
Ballwell did it. I guess that was my point, and I had this discussion with a few Rangers fans just to round it off. Was like, if Rangers were in Celtic's position and this had happened, Rangers' biggest thing had been going for 55 league titles, and this would have done it. Do you think there's a single Rangers fan on the planet would not count that title towards the 55?
Yeah.
And it's not just for Rangers and Celtic, it goes for any team. If your team was given this, you're going to take it. You're not going to be super.
They weren't given it. It wasn't like the season never got started. No games were played, and they just drew names out of a hat. Over 30 plus games, there are teams at the top of their league who were the best teams over the amount of games that could have been played. I'm sorry, end of discussion. Can I just add one quick thing? You know, I don't give a fuck about the Premier League, the English Money League, right? But can I just say how much I enjoyed seeing Liverpool winning the league down there? Not just because it's been so long for them, but because there's a real working class city, a real working class football club with working class supporters that stand for something. It's not a plastic team. It's not a fake team. You know, they've not, tried to change their history, their heritage, or move from Anfield. Do that. They're making the best of what they've got, and look at the performances they've put in on the pitch this year. And can I just say, there was a little part of me that was like, yeah, good on you. Stick two fingers up to the oil barons and the sheikhs and the foreign money and the investment. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but there's a real working class football team that finally got some success after a long time of waiting for it, 30 years or whatever it was. So
who's their rival? Who's Liverpool's rival?
Man United.
Man U. So is Man United acting like Rangers now? Are they saying, oh, it's not a real championship, or are they?
No, because Liverpool have won. It can't be caught anyway. So even if the season, the rest of the games wouldn't have been played, they wouldn't be able to catch them anyway.
It's like you said earlier on, 30-some-odd games have been played. What if you had a shortened season after 4 games? I mean, it does change the question somewhat.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Absolutely.
What's anyone?
Put that one to bed. Fucking done and dusted, boys.
No.
Are you all right?
Hit us with a makeup.
Next one is from Joanna Morrison. Milky Way crispy roll being added to celebrations. It's a bra for me. I think I've ever had one.
Oh yes.
Fantastic.
Bro, excellent news. Best news all year. That's
going to be magnificent when you open one of them on Christmas Day or reach in and there's one of them and then you think to yourself, whoever sat there in the boardroom and thought, fucking add them in. Top boy.
I guarantee there were 19 meetings about whether they should add it and the impact on their business and the podcast, Monkey Sword Fight podcast, discussing it on the airwaves. Yeah.
Fantastic news.
Yeah, that's a bra for me. That one's that easy. Ali?
I'm abstaining on account of the fact I don't even remember the last time I ate celebrations and I don't know what she's talking about. So with all goodwill in the world, you guys go for it.
I don't know. I don't think I've had a Milky Way crispy roll, but it sounds like it's good, and more chocolate is never a bad thing. So I'm going bro.
Yeah. Nice.
Mike Dots or white chocolate bueno. Anyone ever have one of these things?
Very good.
Is that a Kinder Egg type company thing?
Yeah.
Same company, yeah.
It's the bars. There's like a little bit of flake with some little weird little nougat inside, and
Like little mountains.
Yeah, that's a top tier chocolate bar. That, by the way, that's a top tier chocolate bar.
Yeah, I'm going bra for that. They're all the way in my house, in my cupboards filled with them.
It's the smoothest chocolate, Kinder chocolate. Like when you get the white chocolate and the milk chocolate and the little Kinder bars. Oh, mate, and you get like 8 of them for like $1 in Asda's. You got to treat yourself sometimes, man. I'm telling you.
My mom used to buy them all the time for the wee man and keep them in the fridge, but she had to stop because my dad kept tanning them off. Like the wee man would come back after a couple of days and there'd be hee-haw left, so big parts was wiring at them. But that's an all round. That's got to be a bra. It's a bra all day.
Speaking of Big Pats and Mama Pats, did your mom retire? Did I see that correctly?
Yeah, Mama
Yes.
Pat is officially retired.
Congratulations.
I went and dropped her off a bottle of Havana Club earlier to say congratulations.
I hope that Connie and I are like your parents when we get to their age. Not saying they're that much older than us, but I'm just saying that it's. I love how they're on Instagram, or she's on Instagram, and you see her kind of pulling him into the picture, and they just seem like they're just totally in love and are willing to put that on display on Instagram, which is awesome.
They're like a couple of 14-year-olds on Instagram, honestly.
Yeah.
Every Friday, and then I've got a group chat with like me, my mum, my dad, my brother, and my sister, and they put those photos in the group chat as well. And it's, like this is like the second conversation I've had about my mum's Instagram this week because Vicky's the exact same. She says it's her favourite thing on a Friday is this wee affirmation of just my mum and dad having a drink in the back garden. So congratulations, Mama Pats.
I just picture it like she sends your dad inside to get an extra drink, and then she's putting all the photos up in the group chats and on Instagram.
Like Mama Pats loves Instagram, and Big Papa Pats loves Twitter. He's Twitter daft.
Yeah,
loves his Twitter. Good stuff. What was the question? Sorry.
Chocolate bars, or do we do that?
White chocolate buenos.
That was a bra.
All around, yeah. JP, any Facebook post that says, "Let's see who is brave enough to share this." In the bin. I hate it.
It's usually like anti-vaxxers and stuff.
Nationalists also.
Yes.
With some sort of annoying, twisted logic, which is like, I'm going to say something which seems like it's difficult to get out of just to make you agree with something you probably won't.
Like it's even on a smaller scale, like ones that like I've seen one a couple of weeks ago that have never watched an episode of Tiger King. Who's brave enough to share this? I was like, who gives a fuck? Not watch something doesn't make you more interesting than someone who's watched it. Like
I've watched nothing and I couldn't care less. Do you know what I mean?
Care.
I bet you wouldn't share that though.
I think everybody knows that. I've shared that enough times on here.
But yeah, no, that it just screams to me of attention seeking.
Yeah,
it fucks me off.
It's really aggressive as well, which is never a good look.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let's see who's brave enough. Are you brave? You're not brave unless you click share.
These are the same people that share memes of like a still picture. It's like when someone puts up a meme that's taking the piss out of something, and someone comments, "Oh my god, I can't believe that's real." And you're like, "No." You've got me so wound up. I can't believe it. I'm annoyed at myself for putting it because
this is why I don't go on Facebook. But it's because of shite like this. I just don't go on it, man. It's terrible.
I
can't help but share sometimes and try and claw some humanity back in the whole process. But are you brave enough to do this? No.
you don't see that kind of crap on Twitter because Twitter wouldn't stand for it.
I see that.
They kill you for it.
It'd be over in about 5 minutes.
Ethical kind of decision making. This isn't a good thing.
But you see, like, Twitter pretty much self-polices it because you'll see something like that pop up on Twitter and all the comments are just being like, "Fuck off back to the
Yeah, Twitter's not a nice place. It's really not a nice place, but Facebook is terrible.
You find some pretty funny shit on there, but it's not always fun.
No.
sometimes it's hard going. So I'm going to say no. The biggest of no's that I could possibly convey to you people for those posts.
You know the only one I do like, and I don't know if this is real or not. It's probably not real now that I think about it. There's one that says this person was a teacher and they wanted to share with their students about how far things can go on social media. So they wanted to see how many shares and likes that something would get. But what would you get out of that anyway if it was fake? Like, this post that I shared that's just stupid and random got 4,000 shares. So what? So what? Who cares?
It depends. I mean, the classic example would be when you saw the one saying this animal was beaten half to death by some pikeys. They set fire to it, baked it into a cake, whatever weird shit they did. And then they've gone, he's getting great now. Let's give little Spot a like. Getting on all right. He's got a lovely home. And then you find out, not immediately, but what was behind that post was Britain First. And it's about traffic into their thing. So a lot of these poppy appeals and stuff like that, if it's not coming from what's a particular institution, you never know who's behind this shit.
That's very true.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest thing is I've actually done it a couple of times this week, not to be a dick, but I've seen like a couple of things being shared, and like I've just went onto Google and researched what it's referencing, and I'm not trying to call anyone out by doing it, but it's just a case of if you're going to share this, at least you should know the actual. I mean, because you can't really convey a full story in 4 sentences.
No.
Like, so
I think, and I share this on Twitter a lot, or sometimes on Facebook. Ali, you've contributed to it. More proof of the decline of Western civilization.
I love that. The first time you shared that album, I was like, "This is the title. It's gold."
It's and the Facebook and Twitter are having to say before you share something, "Have you read this?" Is more proof of the decline of Western civilization. You have to read things before you share them.
I feel like you should literally be asked 4 or 5 questions about the thing.
A quiz.
Like just a set of multiple choice questions and like just be reviewed before you can hit.
What's interesting is you're essentially channeling Chris Rock's point on gun control, where he's saying have no gun control but make ammunition $5,000 a bullet. So then you have to really work for it. And so the process will deter the uncommitted to the result,
I'm sure Jeffries did a bit about that as well. It was like they made guns so illegal in Australia that on the black market a handgun it's about 15 grand. Like,
you gotta really want to kill someone like Chris Rock. They put $50,000 worth of bullets in his ass.
Well, exactly, but when he said it, it's like, well, at that point you're like, fine, shoot me, you've earned it.
Did something wrong.
Well, I'm going to say no for that one. Go for it.
I know I'm not a regular here, so I don't know if I'm allowed to invoke this, but can you actually take that out of NOR and put it into the cunt pile?
Yes, I think actually that's our first, that's our multifaceted one where, it is both the cunt of the week and the shittiest thing. So if you do that, you immediately fall into the cunt pile. Right. What else?
I guess you know what I'm doing this week on social media on the Monkeys Word Fight page, right? Let's see how many likes this post can get. The last one I wrote was guys with dumb mustaches, and the reason why I said this was because I saw a guy with like this really low. It was like that, yeah. It was like really up to here, but like if you're gonna have that much, I don't want to see you wearing Adidas track. You have to wear like a top hat and a monocle. No Adidas tracksuits, no sneakers. You always have to be super, super dressed up. So I'm going to say no for the dumb mustaches.
I don't know, man. You got to go on a case-by-case basis, like, because previous guests on the show, both Chris Gilray and Matthew, both rocked a strong mustache.
They weren't dumb.
But I can see what you mean. I think that more falls into that whole hipster aesthetic.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Those people will have, they'll smoke a pipe and they'll only drink lager that's brewed from their own pish, and they're definitely a vegan, and they've not seen Tiger King either, and all that type of thing. I think if you're referring to that type of person, I'll say no as well, because I'm not active enough to be that morally directed. So I'll say no.
I don't think there's a shite mustache. Takes a lot of balls to rock a mustache.
Oh,
like guys that rock a mustache, you need to show them a little more respect, boys. a little respect on it, yeah. If you got the bollocks, you got the Billy bollocks to go out there with a fucking moustache. It's pure like gelled, like up like that, and all twirly and shit.
Salvador Dali.
And to do it in Adidas tracksuit bottoms, it's a bra from me, man. Anybody who's got the balls to do that, fair enough.
Fair enough. All right.
Guys,
the best
balling.
mustaches in the modern times was Henry Cavill's in Mission Impossible 6. That was a thing of absolute beauty. And not many men could pull it off with that. Henry Cavill, Mission Impossible 6.
You've also got to reference Superman, whatever it was, because they had to spend millions hiding the mustache and failing completely.
The mustache that ruined Justice League, yeah.
Yeah, that was what ruined the Justice League, I'm sure. But for me, I'm a similar opinion to Andy. It's like if you've got a really crazy moustache that's very ostentatious, one of two things is the case. Either you really love it, so you don't care what anyone else thinks, so power to you, or you're doing it to show off, in which case you're a pillock and you have to live with a moustache you hate. So it's kind of it works itself out.
That's what was that? So we got I've got a no. Mike said no.
Hold on, I'm just googling pillock. A very stupid or foolish person.
You've been here all this time and you didn't know pillock. It's the most 70s phrase.
Oh, okay.
He's living in Scotland. The only folk that say that are the really posh folk that live up here. Yeah. It's like a posh person's word up here.
Rare and amusing insults. Cockalorum snollygoster. You ever heard that?
No, that one's new on me.
No, all right.
You didn't hear that doing the scheme, Mike.
One of his kids.
All right, you snollygoster.
So one of his accents was amazing, and I'm not sure which way.
Right, what is there any more for Bro or No? Is that
that's it.
Bro or No for the week. Well, we're running in on time, so that's about 42 minutes. So we jump in a wee bit of watching and listening to and open up the floor.
Hey.
That's fucked off. Does everyone want to start off this week?
I need to go and have a think about it, so one of you boys better crack on.
First, pal, what are we watching and listening to this week?
Anyone?
Mike.
Oh, okay. I was just opening up my titles to see what I've been listening to. I watched last night The School That Tried to End Racism. Has anyone seen this?
No.
Did it work?
Probably not. There's a couple of kids that have been arrested since. So. They took a bunch of secondary school kids, and they did a bunch of things to make them more aware of race and different privileges that some people may have and some kids maybe not have had. And it was just interesting to see how I think these kids were around 12 or 13 years old, just how thoughtful they were and how kind of eloquent they were when they were speaking about these things. And it's something that they probably weren't fully confronted with at that young age. And I know that when I was that age, I probably wouldn't be able to kind of summarize my thoughts and feelings as well as they did. So I just thought that was super interesting. It was like 2 episodes. I give that an 8. It was pretty interesting. I'm gonna watch it with my daughters actually because I thought it was pretty good. Also, we talked about Kevin Bridges earlier while we were eating dinner earlier tonight. There's a show called Snoop Dogg. Has anyone seen this? Where they strap a camera to a dog, and then they run it through the house, and then they talk about the architecture of the house and things that are in the house, and then you have to kind of throughout the house. It's a famous person's dog, so you have to try and figure out whose dog it is.
So it's like through the keyhole, but from the eye of a dog.
Yes, yeah.
This started in a pub with that title, and they just built the show from there, didn't they?
Yes. Hear me out. We're gonna put a camera on a dog. Billy, not again. So it was really good. They had Kevin Bridges on there, and they had some lady from Strictly Come Dancing. I'm really into like architecture and stuff now, and like things that people do to the house. I don't know where this came from.
Sorry, I just love the fact they're going to all these details to justify putting a camera on a dog.
I know, right?
Run around someone's house, quick, say something pertinent.
And it was good because like one of the Kevin Bridges' dog, he just went and lay down. They hid treats around the house so that the dogs can go and find them and show different parts of the house. And the dog just went and lay down. They were like, all right. So they had cameras set up in the house as well so that they can take different pictures. And it was really good. It was good seeing dogs. It was good seeing houses. So I give that an 8 as well. We're going high this week.
Good seeing dogs. It was good seeing houses. That's your episode title. Just for that. That sentence made me smile on the inside.
It was good seeing dogs. It was good seeing houses. Wale's album, that was good. I need to find out the title of it, but it was kind of social justice music, but it was kind of upbeat, which was really good. I'm trying to find the name of it now, and of course it's not here at all. I put it in the group chat. What's it called? Did anyone listen to it?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay. Oh, The Imperfect Storm, it's called. I give that a 9. I thought that was really, really good. I also had a question regarding to music. When's the last album that was released within the last 5 years that you've listened to repeatedly?
Probably Gang Size and Prayers by Stormzy. Like his debut album, I'd like played that thing to death. Either that or.
Have you listened to it recently though?
Yeah, like it's.
You have? Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, it's like one of the biggest things I've played through that and Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, the Arctic Monkeys' last album, which I think if anyone remembers, I came onto the show after listening to it the first time and I was really upset that I didn't like it. But like upon re-listening, it's now I think it's probably my second favourite album of theirs. So Tranquility Base Hotel, and Gang Sign and Prayers, that really are like big on my playlist a lot of the time. As a middle class man from Scotland, I know a thing or two about grime. So
there you go. That's all from me though. Oh, I've also been listening to a song called Black Man Magic too. I advise you to listen to it. It's very good, very uplifting, very upbeat.
Cool. I'll jump in next. I've been Megan subjecting me to a podcast called Let's Talk About Myths, Baby, which is basically it's a girl from Canada who talks through Greek mythology, and it's very simplistic but really enjoyable, really easy to break down. I'm not massive on history. It's never been a massive interest of mine, but this is actually pretty cool. And the way she breaks it down is fairly sort of keeps it simple, modern day terms. So that gets us 7 bananas from me. What else? I watched Creed 2 the other day, the latest installment in the Rocky Creed franchise. It's on Netflix with Michael B. Jordan. It's a solid film, man. It's like Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson. Sylvester Stallone's fucking fantastic in it. It's like, I don't know if anyone was to high notes, it's basically Creed is Apollo Creed's son that fights Ivan Drago's son to avenge his father's death. But like the acting's all brilliant, the fight choreography is fantastic. It's everything you want from like a Rocky film. There's like a big training montage, you feel fucking like really pumped after it. So I guess an 8 bananas from me. Like the Rocky films all get a big bit of clout from me because I grew up watching them all and shit. So I guess an 8 bananas. Strong film, easily rewatchable as well. Like everything you want from a Rocky film in terms of suspense and a bit of emotion.
What's the worst Rocky movie?
Rocky 5. Rocky 5.
Yeah.
I mean, even saying that, the street fight itself at the end of Rocky 5, spoilers, is good in terms of a Rocky fight scene. But the rest of it is just a bit sad. You just feel. I mean, never mind the fact that Rocky's overcome severe brain damage. Like, that's fine. But, yeah, it's not a great one. But, yeah, Creed 2, what else have I got? I've been watching. What's happening to Andy? Andy's
I'm just laughing. Like your last comment there was kind of really just sums up Rocky 5, doesn't it?
Just a bit sad.
Just a bit sad. Has a bit of brain damage, but he comes back and it's all good. Do you know what I mean? For a bit.
The house they're living in.
I've actually the last few days I've been watching a shit ton of Glastonbury coverage. Obviously, this week was meant to be Glastonbury, so they've put on a load of like previous big shows. So I've watched so far. Stormzy's set from last year, which everyone knows I was a big fan of. The Foo Fighters set from 2 or 3 years ago, where they came on an hour early and played for about 3.5 hours. So that's like the Glastonbury had a fucking missing festival is big time. Looking forward to when we're all able to get back out into groups of people. I think that's about it for me. I've not actually, other than that, I've rewatched Friends because obviously there's loads of new stuff for me to try, but of course I'm going to watch something I've seen a million times. So. Ali Cook, what about yourself, sir?
Lots, actually. I did make a list, so I don't know what I was talking about. In terms of watching, I've just, as I put on Facebook the other day, I've just bought Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister and DVD. They are terrifyingly relevant still.
They are, aren't they?
When I moved to Bedford in 2011, just after that, I was listening to an interview on the radio with Jonathan Lynn, who's one of the two writers of Yes Minister. And he's been interviewed by the Scots author Christopher Brookmeyer. And Brookmeyer said to him, "How did you keep so topical every week without sounding obvious?" He went, "Well, we couldn't just write what was in the newspapers because it was, just too on the nose. So we'd go down the Daily Telegraph offices in London and look up what had been in the headlines 30 years previous on that week." And so what he's talking about there is looking in the Telegraph headlines from the 50s. And he's looking at them in like 79, 80, and he's recounting this in 2012. So that's nearly 60 years apart total. And he said what he read was special relationship with America, war in the Middle East, public identity cards, database loss. It's like nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
So it's all 30-year cycles, man. We do make the same stupid mistakes our parents make and our grandparents. We make them slightly less badly each time, and that's what we call progress. But it's a phenomenal show and highly recommended. We also watched, staying on the kind of Tory government theme, weirdly, we watched Thatcher, a very British Revolution on iPlayer. Not because he was that interested in Margaret Thatcher, but it's quite an interesting thing to look at what happened in my early lifetime through a particular lens. It's going to cover a lot of events that were important. That was pretty good, actually. And also Andrew Marr's Modern History of Britain, very similarly. It's very good at showing you why things have worked out how they have. What stupid decisions contributed to some of the sadder parts of it.
The many stupid decisions.
Also, good stick with iPlayer. There's a documentary on Meatloaf recommended by a friend. That's okay. I give that one 5 bananas, being not bad, but it's in the middle. So 5.
Okay.
And a much better one on Ella Fitzgerald, if you like your jazz, called Just One of Those Things. I'd give that one 7. Made me want to go out and buy one of her LPs because I realised I hadn't got one. So that's pretty telling. Rereading Lord of the Rings at the moment. I've read that tons of times, and if you've only ever read the book, watched the movie, sorry, I'd say give the book a go at least once because it's a different kind of story. It's slower, and I'm really enjoying it being slow. Maybe
that
age now.
The book, like I made it through the Fellowship and halfway through the Two Towers, and fuck me, man, it's very mentally taxing because it's so well written. It's so descriptive.
What detail.
The world's so immersive, but it's so tough to keep everything going. So anyone who's actually made it through all the books is my hero. So well done, mate. Because it's not easy.
Well, it is and it isn't, because once you've read it once, you know which bits to ignore, like the songs, because you don't know how the tune goes.
Yeah.
You know it doesn't matter, so you just skip them and things like that. So I mean, I must have read it about 15, 20 times all the way through, but yeah, each time you read less of it. Musically, lots of the Stranglers at the moment, particularly hanging around, and there's a wicked version. I found a thing, probably you might have seen me repost on YouTube, of Golden Brown. Someone's done a version of it sound like 50s jazz, which is just fabulous. Sounds like a Dave Brubeck quartet. And then, as usual, lots of synthwave.
Nice.
Always. Also, do check out Macapella's 1983 and Blade Runner.
I keep meaning to say this to you, Andy, as well. See, at least once a week, if I'm struggling for a bit of focus, your synth album is what I ping on, and it just gives me that solid, power through it. So I keep meaning to tell you that because there's some good shit on there. So check the boy out.
Cheers, lads. Appreciate that.
Okay, making your own synth stuff, Andy. That arrived this week.
Oh, a Kai keyboard, is it?
It's already lots of fun. I've got my son mucking about with it.
Nice.
Wally. Anything else from yourself, Ali, mate?
Oh, always infinite stuff, but there's only so much time. In case we run out, I better do a quick shout out list. So, Night and Day, happy Canada Day for Wednesday. Here's some Cape Breton single malt, so cheers to you.
Hey.
Hope screeched in.
See that as well. PJ and the family have been out on the links the last few days. I've seen on his Instagram. They've been golfing like fuck. So, aye, there you go. Happy Canada Day. Didn't even know that.
And I'd also like to take the opportunity to do a quick list of shout outs to all my Hurricane boys, like Love Train, Stosh, Stevie Cook, Hoops, Lump and Kerem, Big J West, Richie Bannon, Swanee, Chris Gill, Ray Sam Ross, the ridiculous William Lockwood, Fraser Reevy, Fraser Thompson, Bruce Thompson, Lars Doomer, Andy Henderson, even though you're a very angry man, Ian Scoring, all the rest of you boys. Occasionally, I almost missed some of you. It was lovely.
Beautiful. We've actually made it now. People are giving shout outs on our show as well. That's like
that's a big moment. Yeah.
A big moment. Right, Andy, what about yourself, mate?
Not much. I watched UFC last night. Platinum Mike Perry, I don't know if we spoke about this last week, but he had his girlfriend in the corner, so he refused to take a trainer or coach or anything like that. UFC provides a cut man, and he just said he was going to put his girlfriend in the corner, and everybody's like, he's fucking lost his mind. But got a good win last night, and then there was the Poirier Hooker fight, and that's a potential for fight of the year. So if you've not had a chance to catch up with that, check the highlights of that out on YouTube, because that was an absolute slugfest for 5 rounds. Music wise, I was actually listening to Dire Straits' Money for Nothing album. Brother in Arms album, but I was listening specifically to tracks like Money for Nothing because I came across like an a cappella version of it, and I kind of had the feeling I might do something with this, but I haven't yet. But that took me back to the original.
Is that the one that opens with the solo? Like, that is one of the greatest intros ever written, like, by a mile.
If you're going to do something like that, Andy, would that legitimately be Macapella a cappella?
No, because it wouldn't be my a cappella, it'd be somebody else's. If I'd sung it, then you could call it a Macapella a cappella, yeah.
What else you got, man?
A guitar player called Michael Lee Firkins. Somebody I've listened to for like 20 years. But cool thing about Michael Lee Firkins is that he plays with his whammy. So you guys know what a whammy bar does, yeah? Like on the guitar, you know, the bar, you push it down and it loosens the tension of the strings so the pitch goes down. So it goes like meow. Yeah? So he uses one of them. But what he does is he bends it down and then plays and pulls it up into notes. So it sounds like he's playing slide guitar, but he's not actually using a slide. It's a phenomenal technique. But yeah, I've been listening to a couple of his old albums and quite a lot of guitar music this week. So another guy who I quite happily say is the best living guitar player in the world today. It's a guy called Guthrie Govan. I've been listening to an album of his from about 10 years ago called Erotic Cakes. And as far as guitar music goes, it is possibly one of the greatest guitar albums of all time. The guy is just a master of his instrument. And when I studied at the Academy of Contemporary Music back in 99, 2000, he was one of the guitar tutors there. So, I mean, I've been aware of him for 20 years now. And he is, without a shadow of a doubt, the best guitar player you've ever heard in your life. He can play everybody like everybody, if that makes sense. Yeah, you say to him, you know, play like B.B. King here, play like Jeff Beck here, play like Yngwie Malmsteen here, play like Joe Satriani here, and it sounds just like them. But the beautiful thing is that he's not a copycat. He is himself. So him playing Guthrie as Guthrie is one of the most insane experiences you can ever listen to. Never mind seeing the flesh. In the flesh is something completely different. And obviously he's got loads of videos and stuff on YouTube. So if you're interested in guitar players, or you want to see who is the best guitar player in the world today, without a shadow of a doubt, Google, YouTube, Guthrie Govan. His first solo album, Erotic Cakes, is just a journey and an absolutely mind-blowing experience, particularly if you play guitar as well. If you also play to a high standard, I'll guarantee it'll blow your mind. A couple other things. Watched a really good documentary on Don King, famous boxing promoter. nasty piece of work, Don King. So it's one that I saw on YouTube. I'm just scanning my history now. It was about an hour long. Unfortunately, I can't find the title here because I watched so much shit on YouTube. But it was about an hour long. I'm sure if you put in Don King documentary, you'll probably see it being one of the top 2 or 3. But it just shows the dark side of boxing, the dark side of combat sports promotion, I guess, if you like. And just Don King was a nasty man. Would have shot his mother for $1 if he could. You know, he's that type of guy. Just I always knew, you know, he wasn't a very pleasant man, but the documentary just exposed some other things about him, some of his business dealings and what he did to fighters throughout their careers, and how he ripped off so many fighters for millions and millions of dollars. Just a really interesting watch. And other than that, I've just been playing a bit of Warzone. Had friend of the show ran a marathon in the studio recording. Doing some new work with Husk Kingpin this week. And other than that, that's pretty much me. I'm off on summer holiday now. So I'm about to hit that golf course. And I'm back on a diet tomorrow morning as well, because I've been eating and drinking, and I am a fat fucking bastard at the moment. I have got a lot of weight to get off, so I'm dying to get the gyms open, back on the golf, really getting back. I'll be back like 7 days a week as of Monday, so it's going to be good. Looking forward to it, and that's me.
Hopefully we'll be back. We'll get ourselves back in the studio and we can record these bad boys in person. And just on that note, just before I forget, Ali Cook very kindly has sent the boys a very special present for the next podcast back. Some Scottish arrived at my
did say ages ago I'd probably do it, and then I suddenly remembered that promise when I was pissed the other day.
Thank you, Ali.
Credit card.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
All I know about this is that every day I'll put the lid down, and as the day goes, this lid rises up because of the I'm not even joking. Like, I'll push it like that, and in 20 minutes the lid will start to come up. I've not
Why
tried.
Is that?
It's because the pressure inside the steam comes off of it when you open it. Oh, right.
Don't forget, this is what there was reputedly the drink that inspired Van Gogh to cut his ear off. Although that did involve a chemical and strangely not allowed to put in it anymore.
Yeah.
I think that this might lead to an episode titled "White Daddy, Why Do You Smell of Poison Again?"
Part 2.
That's the bad.
You should have been, honestly, that night will live in my memory for a long time. That was such a funny night, man. When we used to do it in Mike's kitchen. Oh, God. That's one of the funniest moments ever on this podcast for me. That episode.
It's up there, yeah.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Yeah, so that will be brilliant. There's some Scottish absinthe that we will be busting out at the first appearance by Vlack in the studio.
I'm hoping by the bottom of that bottle you'll have half your face painted blue and be running over the border with an axe in your hand.
That episode's going to get weird, ladies and gentlemen.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Like I say, we're not sure. Like I say, we'll maybe get another. We'll get another video one put out before the big date of July 10th, where we can maybe start getting back in the business and getting the show recorded back with the boys in the room. Thank you, Ali, for coming on, mate. Do you have any social media you want to share with the people, or?
I will share. Don't go on social media. We've decided it's bad for you.
Yeah. I am on Twitter. I've changed my Twitter handle. I am at MSF_JP.
Nice.
All right.
When did that happen?
Yeah.
Just about an hour ago. I was just looking at it. I was like, this isn't even funny anymore. Like,
I'll remember. Can I just say, I used to be. Well, I wasn't going out with her. I was seeing a lassie, but she used to say when she listened to the podcast, she's like, "Tell Jordan to change his tag because I have no idea what it is when he says it, and how the fuck am I ever meant to search that?" I'm just letting you know now, like 2 years later.
Good feedback. Yeah, there you go.
I don't want to hurt his feelings.
None of that hurt my feelings. Anyway, you can find us on YouTube just now. We will be making our return to Podbean very fucking soon. Thank you very much for listening, liking, subscribing. And you can, like I say, find me on Twitter at MSF_JP.
I am also on Twitter at _MDots.
And I'm still there at Macapella.
Right, everyone, thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you again, Ali, for showing up, and we will speak to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.